Hi Diane, how are you today?
Hi, Linda. I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Would you like to just do a very brief introduction of who you are and what you do, please?
Sure, I'd be delighted. I'm Diane Burridge. I'm the CEO of Moneyline. We've been working in South Wales since 2009. We're a not-for-profit community lender, and we aim to provide affordable alternative sources of credit as an alternative to high-cost lenders. And we offer both credit and savings products as part of what we do.
Great, thank you. Well, it's been an incredible few months for both
Yeah.
of our organisations, Diane, and I think we've had some real challenges over that time. But I just think it's worth explaining to people what sort of things that we've both been faced with and how we've dealt with it.
Okay, so as you've started to touch on, not a single community has not been a single individual, community not been affected by this. I don't think in some way, by the pandemic. It's everyone going through this at the same time. So it's the people who work at Moneyline, and it's the people we see at Moneyline. So as the first lockdown began, one of our real first priorities was making sure that our customers in vulnerable circumstances were okay. So we diverted our customer team to initially making calls, and that was more to our elderly customers who were maybe living alone, our customers who were already living with mental health issues before even the pandemic came along, and our customers that were maybe coping with disabilities or long-term health issues or illness. We weren't checking they could pay their loan. We were checking if they had food, or something as simple as food and medicine. Was someone coming to see them? Did they have contact in some way with the outside world? Because we were really concerned around the isolation that the lockdown created. So it was about our customers, and then it was about making sure our staff were okay as well. And how they would cope with having some of these conversations that they will be having with people who were really struggling. And I think as time's gone on, everyone's started to feel this in different ways, not just financially, but mentally too. So as time gone on, we the conversations have developed almost in being able to help people more in the long term as well as the short term.
Yeah, and our experience has actually been very similar as well. Similar to you, we redeployed a lot of our staff into being customer facing to make telephone calls. Our aim was to call every single household and speak to every tenant as quickly as we could. And we started at the beginning of lockdown, and before the end of June, we'd spoken to over 9,000 households.
Wow.
And like exactly as you said, it wasn't about the business. It was actually just to see if they were okay. There were many people who were struggling to get food. We did the same as you. We first of all talked to all of our tenants who were on the shielding list, the NHS shielding list. Then all of the others that we knew were either elderly or more vulnerable. And then the rest of the tenant group as well. And we found similarly to you, people who may have actually not had any underlying health or mental health issues previously were really struggling with the isolation, just with the stress of the whole pandemic, really.
Absolutely.
But yeah, and so like you, it's really important we were able to signpost them to areas where they could get help, where they could get advice. We had lots of people who went onto universal credit for the first time, who maybe weren't in a position to be furloughed, or who had their own businesses and had to close them down. And for those people, they were very nervous. Many of them had never claimed benefits. So, our team, financial advisors, were really, very fully stretched to try and help all of those that they could. The digital aspect of people who weren't necessarily used to using either their mobile phone, their iPad, or their computer to do the things they then had to do. It's trying to help them as well.
Yeah, we've got our advisors who we've resumed our lending now and everything, who are dealing with that, but we've actually created a dedicated team now that'll be a permanent fixture in the business that is doing all of that customer care and carrying it on, because we're finding, you know, we've had customers that we talked to at the beginning of lockdown who were maybe bereaved and have been since. So it's been about creating those checkpoints so that we can talk to them at intervals, and in terms of how they're coping with that process, not just financially but emotionally as well. You know, so we've had checkpoints to understand what's going on with individual cases with customers, and then being able to check in with them after they've kind of gone, you know, they've gone through the funeral and everything, are going through the grieving process, to be able to kind of check both from an emotional and a financial point of view what such a profound thing like that happening has had for them, and how we can help in all sorts of ways. And that the whole thing you talk about, you know, kids schooling, you know, Christmas being on the horizon, and people thinking about, yes, they're thinking about whether they're going to be able to be with their families, but they're also thinking about coping financially with Christmas coming along, and all the financial pressures that there are around trying to make Christmas you know, good in their household and for their families, and the best it can possibly be. And with unemployment, as you said, and people moving on into, you know, that have got commitments where they had a salary that they're now moving on to universal credit, that's a profound income shock. And not only are you trying to deal with your bills, but you're trying to deal with those everyday life expenses that come along for birthdays and Christmas, and all of those pressures that come with all of that. So I think it feels like it's layers of different things for people that they're coping with, both emotionally and financially. I think the important thing that I would like to stress, that even if it's difficult, talk to someone or tell someone there is help out there. You know, talk to your landlord, talk to other institutions that you have relationships with for be it for your credit or savings, because people are there to help. And if we can't help, we're there to point you to someone who can. You know, don't worry, don't keep it to yourself. If you don't want to speak to a person, there are websites out there such as Turn to Us, the national charity helping people when times are tough. You can check benefit entitlement, you can search for grants, you can get coronavirus information. The Money Advice Service, really helpful place to go. Even the Money Saving Expert, because, you know, there are some really simple explanations and up-to-date explanations of what could be out there to help. I saw a tweet this morning that said, from the Money and Pension Service, that said 21 million money secrets are kept from loved ones across the UK. Don't keep it a secret, talk to someone, because they can help.
That's great advice. Thank you very much. And I hope you and your family stay well and healthy, and that you are able to have some sort of good Christmas this year, Diane. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.